Welcome to the second of four candidate forums put on by the Fayette Tea Party. I want to first of all, thank the Warren Community Church and Pastor Ken Culver, who apparently hasn't made it in tonight so far, but very much appreciate this church opening up for us to use. I'm going to start off by covering the ground rules. But before we do that, I was going to have Pastor Ken do the pledge and the prayer, but I always have a backup plan, so I brought my friend from Cincinnati here, Warren Kirk, who's a pastor up in Hope, Indiana, and is going to lead us through a prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Lord, you bring us together in many different ways, and you bring us together tonight in this place, your house, in your presence, Lord, and we are so grateful for that. We are grateful that we have been part of this great nation, the nation that was founded upon the principles of having one God. We are grateful that you call us into service in so many different ways as well. Bless each of those that are here, Lord. Open our hearts that we may listen to your call on our lives and be directed by that call. For we are privileged to be part of this great nation. Thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And let's conclude with the rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you, Warren. Okay, I'm going to quickly go over the ground rules and guidelines for the candidates and the audience. Each candidate, we're going to be bringing them up in order, and they will have their names in front of here. So obviously, when you see your name, come on up. You're going to get 3 minutes to tell us about you. Then we're going to open up to questions, and we're going to do them in order. The first question goes to Sam, next one goes to Reed, next one goes to Homer, and then start all over. So one candidate can get all the questions or get bombarded or helped or hurt. And I hope this doesn't happen, but if a candidate attacks another candidate, there's chances for rebuttal, if we can stay away from that, that would be great. And that way you can just use the time more productively. Each section is going to be about 25 minutes. We're going to try to keep it to that. And if we have time at the end of the segments, if there's lots of questions, we may not. If there's no questions, we'll have time available. Each candidate can do a closing remark. And for tonight, we have Dolores DiGaetano as our moderator, and she'll be running the show. I will be the timekeeper. And I will be giving, I have a sign that says, for the candidates, that means 30 seconds left. So when you see me hold this up, she's going to, after 30 seconds, she'll get the hook and get you off the stage. So, okay, so the first set of candidates, come on up, and we'll start the program here.
I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. I'm hoping I can break this. There we go. Okay. And I'm the chairman of the Republican Party, also the president of the Tri-County Republican Women. That's why I'm here tonight. And I'm very excited that we have a lot of candidates here that are willing to serve the public. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead, Sam Elgindy.
Hi, my name is Sam Elgindy. As you can tell from my last name and from my accent that I'm not originally from this country. I've been here for 30 years. I came in from foreign country, as I said. I've been here 30 years. We've lived in Fayette County for 14 years. We have 3 kids. My wife and I have been married for 20 years. We have the good fortune to start my first business 20 years ago. And now we have 3 businesses. Well, actually 4 businesses. So I came from a business background. I graduated, I went to Memphis State. We have one shop in Cordova, one shop in Memphis, one shop in Oakland, and we run another business through Cordova also. During our 14 years living in Fayette County, our youngest son went to Oakland for a couple of years, went to Fayette County for Fayette Academy for a couple of years, and thank God he just graduated from St. Benedict in Cordova, and he's going to UT Knoxville. Another two, they already graduated and they're older kids. When I first moved to Fayette County, I went to the fire department, West Fayette Fire Department. I was a volunteer for 5 years. After that, I volunteered to Oakland Police Department. Before I finished with Oakland Police Department, I was the lieutenant who was in charge of the Reserve Police Department. I like to serve my community. I like to say I have the advantage of loving this country. I know everybody live here, love it, but I have a different love to it because I came from a foreign country, and I know how important to live in this country and the opportunities we have in this country. And thank God, I have the 4 businesses, I have a wife, I have 3 kids. I've been very blessed to be in this country. And I like to improve where I live because I value every minute of living here. I want to run for this office. First of all, I want to thank publicly Ms. Joanne Allen for a great job she have done. And if I was fortunate enough to serve on the county commission, it's going to be big shoes to fill. But I'd like to thank her publicly for her well done job. If I was chosen to be your candidate, I will serve you. I came from a business background, and I value this country. I value family life, and I value my community, and I value this country. And I hope you will vote for me. I do thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So can we take one question now?
No, we do all 3.
Okay, great. All right, Mr. Reed Barber, come on up.
My name is Reed Barber. My late wife Ginger and I came out and found a home site in 1980. In 1986, we built our home on the backside of Gresham Lake in Hickory With, and enjoyed it very much. We immediately, shortly thereafter, we became very involved in the community. Ginger is a nurse practitioner operating a clinic in Oakland, and primary health clinic. She, being a nurse practitioner, she was a family nurse practitioner, and I was just working in the community because I enjoyed that very much. Through the efforts of Mr. Alfred Hodges, who was also involved in the community very much, and many of you may have known him or may have known him. I was appointed to the Fayette County School Board. Subsequent to finishing out that term that I was appointed to, I was elected for 3 full 4-year terms. During that period of time, we built 2 new schools, East Junior High and West Junior High. We also made in excess of $1 million addition to Oakland Elementary School. All of these were finished on time and under budget. And so I enjoyed the time that I was on the school board, worked hard at it, and thoroughly enjoyed it. As a county commissioner, I certainly want to help maintain our low tax rate here. And it's very important that we do, I think. And we would also, I would like to do that through economic stimulation and properly planned growth we might have. I'd like to see the education in Fayette County, the public education, improved. We as a commission cannot, we only oversee it and oversee the funding of it. But we can work with the leadership there and see if we cannot make some improvements that way. A primary concern is public safety, whether it's the county sheriff's department or the police departments. We need to maintain that. In medical emergency protection, progress is only achieved through cooperation and reasonable compromise. My one and only promise to the fellow citizens of Hickory With is to represent them in the interests of Hickory With on the county board with honesty, integrity, and transparency. The long-term viability of Hickory With depends on all the county commissioners working together for the betterment of Fayette County. Thank you.
Kind of disappointed I haven't been able to throw anybody off yet, so Homer, come on up.
Good evening, folks. I'm Homer Bunker, and I'm running for District 8, Position 1 of the Fayette County Board of Commissioners. Thank you, Dr. Dolores, for moderating tonight. And I would like to start by expressing appreciation to the person who I hope to succeed, Joanne Allen, Commissioner Joanne Allen. She has served faithfully and with diligence for the last 12 years. We owe her a round of applause. And I also thank you so much, Joanne, for supporting my candidacy. And I also am about to forget another important lady in my life. That's my wife. And I appreciate you standing by and doing most of the work while I'm out talking with people. Can you hear me back there? Well, good. Some years ago, I was speaking to a rather large group, and all of a sudden, someone way in the back stood up and said, "I can't hear you." And a man right on the front row stood up and said, "Well, I can, and I'll change places with you." So it pays to get those things worked out before you get into what you're going to say. I'm a conservative Christian, and I'm in my 15th year at Bellevue Baptist Church, and I serve in the evangelism ministry there. Been married to Betty for 54 years. Someone recently said to her, "I bet you know him like a book after all these years." And she said, "Yes, but seldom does he know which page I'm on." We have 3 successful sons and 6 wonderful grandchildren, and I can tell you some funny stories about them, but just don't have time tonight. I served 4 years in the U.S. Air Force, served 14 years with the Shelby County Board of Education, and the last 2.5 years of that I was chairman of the board. During those years, we had one of the very top public school systems in the entire nation. I also served 6 years on the executive committee of the Tennessee School Boards Association in Nashville. I'm a member of the West Fayette Republican Club. I'm a lifetime member of the NRA, but they still find innovative ways to get me to send them additional money. I've been a member of various boards, such as Baptist Church Board of Deacons, the Med Foundation Board, Memphis Boys Town Board, which is now Youth Villages. I've been in service organizations such as Kiwanis and Rotary for many years. Betty and I were successful business owners, and as your commissioner, I'll fight any tax increase. I'll help to rein in frivolous spending. I'll help stimulate controlled economic growth, and I'll use my 14 years experience and contacts in education to help improve education in Fayette County. I promise to be discerning in thought, resolute in effort, and available for our citizens in Fayette County. I'll appreciate your support and your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now, does anybody in the audience have a question? Mr. Aljuni. Joanne?
First of all the questions going to all the candidates?
Yeah. No.
One question per person.
Question 1, question 2, question 3, question 1, 4.
Well, I'd kind of like to know how they all feel about this question.
Okay, then when Reed gets it, he's next. He asks the question again.
Oh, Sam.
Yes.
I know no one wants a tax increase, but if you were faced as a commissioner with the decision, rather to have a tax increase that would better service emergency services, ambulance, fire department, policemen? How would you feel about that? Would that be a serious consideration you would make?
I will definitely consider it seriously, because when I was volunteering in the fire department, we did not have all the resources we needed. I had to put my own money to buy my own clothes because I wanted to have better clothes to protect me. So yes, I will definitely consider it, because we need all the consideration, because they have to have better equipment, they have to have the support, they have to have their, for their own safety, and for them to do their job better, what they're doing. They are volunteer, and I will support that, yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Barber?
Same question?
Any questions?
Same question?
I would certainly consider any specific needs that were definitely needed. That does not mean that I would vote for it, because there might be other ways to come up with the funding. But we certainly need to search out ways to do the funding, because we certainly want to do the fire protection and police protection, sheriff's department protection and everything, and medical emergency protection. So, but we need to seek out other sources, but I would seriously consider it. If that was the only way, we'd certainly have to consider it, but we'd have to search every other way first, in my opinion.
Well, it's the job of the county commission to consider whatever is brought before them in a legal manner. If they brought a tax increase proposal for the emergency services or for whatever, I would be looking for a way to, as I said a minute ago, contain frivolous spending. There are always ways in government to save money. There are always things that have outlived their usefulness. That when they were passed, a law and implementing those years ago was passed, they were needed then, but they've outlived their usefulness. I'll be looking for ways to offset anything that is forthcoming or an increase there. So it won't be an increase, it'll be a swap out. If we're going to spend an additional $1 million, I'm going to be looking for $1 million in savings. I could point out things that, as an example, one is the education here in Fayette County. The money that's being spent per student there is higher than many, many other good systems that are educating their students. And it's a known fact that the education of our students is far below par, in fact, close to the bottom in the state of Tennessee, yet spending more money. So spending more money is not always the answer. Thank you.
Any other questions? Pam?
All right, it's a great temptation sometimes to look at the potential for funding things by federal grants. This would be for all three of you. Federal grants come with strings. They also constitute part of our national debt. And so if you as a commission member are given the opportunity to start a program in the county that is partly funded by federal grants, what do you think your approach would be? Thank you.
Well, we're going to pull all the resources in there, trying to get every program available for us. And we will hire a committee trying to study everything available to us and try to get that, definitely. And there's a lot of programs out there that we can obtain, but we have to do our homework. And I believe we do have the resources in our county to do that. So, yes, we will do that.
I'm very much aware that the federal government is spending a lot of money that I do not agree with. 100% do not agree with it. However, getting grants for the county, I would have to say yes, I would be for that. We have a great little airport out there that was built through some grants. It was self-sufficient. I'm here now that there's some that some emergency helicopters.
On the very back side. But, hold it. There. The light comes on.
Is it on?
That light came on. Yeah, hold it in.
It's going on. Probably need a battery.
But
You don't put it back in.
it'll go back in there. Maybe it'll go back in there. Yeah, it will. All right. But we've had a emergency helicopters sit down out there and could not get gas, and they've got fuel fields out there. That should not happen. They should be available to do that. That's income for Fayette County. So yes, I do believe in government funding on certain things. So my answer to that would be yes, I would support government funding.
Before I answer that, allow me to tell you a little story. Really, it's not a little story, it's a big story. Back when Jimmy Carter was running for president, the NEA, National Education Association, the biggest union in the world, approached him and said, if you will give us a U.S. Department of Education when you're elected, we will get you elected. He promised them he would start the U.S. Department of Education if they elected him. They did elect him. He did start the U.S. Department of Education. Ronald Reagan followed him. Ronald Reagan was going to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education, which we don't need. Ronald Reagan quickly found that they were so embedded with all the teachers and school employees all across the nation that he couldn't even dismantle it that quickly. So we have the U.S. Department of Education, which is simply a conduit for the NEA. Anything the NEA wants, regardless of how far left it is, and all this stuff you're seeing that's far left in our schools is coming from the NEA. Then all they do is submit it. Am I done?
Pretty much.
How much?
Couple more seconds.
Okay, all right. Well, I lost my train of thought there, but the point is they want something, they submit it to the U.S. Department of Education, and it comes right down to the school system. The school systems then provide grants, and it's implemented, and then the grant is not there next year or the year after or whatever, and you have to fund it locally. So for that reason, I would be very, very cautious being in favor of grants. Thank you.
Okay, the NEA is bad. Okay. Anybody else with a question? Yes, sir.
Mr. Al-Jandi.
Thank you.
With the rapid increase of people moving into this area, has there been some consideration for the infrastructure that's being built, and then for making sure that the homes that are being built are the kind of quality that doesn't detract from those homes that are already out here?
Yes, sir, it has been. That's what, if I get elected to be, lucky enough to be elected commissioner, I will work with the city of Oakland also to maintain our structure with the rapid growth, to keep it rural, but yet grow elegantly. I don't want to be part of what they have on Covington Pike or Goodman Road or something like that. I'd like to keep it as a rural area. So yes, there is that communication with Oakland and the Fayette County Mayor to keep it rural area, but yet maintain the growth that we need to have. Thank you.
Same question?
Because what I'm seeing now is, I'm seeing our growth that's being it's a bunch of new people moving out here. I'm not Tennessean, I'm a newcomer. I'm from Alabama, and I know some of the things that I left from down there I miss up here. And I think part of the problem that I'm seeing is we don't have the kind of inspection for these new homes that are being built, because how does that affect the infrastructure?
Okay.
If you don't even know what you're inspecting, what kind of infrastructure should you be building?
Okay, let's go ahead and have Mr. Barber come up and answer your question.
In the early days of Hickory With, we were looking at growth, and at that time, Mayor of Oakland said, it won't be long until you won't be able to tell the difference in coming through Bartlett right on out to Oakland. It's going to be all one thing. Well, we didn't want that, and we fought it. And so I agree with planned growth, but also, you know, the more restrictions you put on, and if you put on there where you've got to have sewerage and everything like that, that's going to be a cost to the county or to the city or whatever. I do not believe in big government. I believe in conservative, and I like to go with a smaller government. So I think that proper planning through the Planning Commission is the way to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bunker. Same question.
Well, of course, as has just been pointed out, we have the local bodies of government, Office of Planning and Development, or whatever, who approves anything that's built, constructed here. As I mentioned a minute ago, controlled economic development, that would be what I would be looking at. You have to be sure that you have enough fire stations, emergency services of all types, from ambulances or whatever. All of those things have to be considered every time you construct anything. That's part of the approval process. That's the reason it is a process and not just a one-stop, okay, you can do that. So if you have controlled economic growth, which I just mentioned a few minutes ago is part of what I'm standing for, then those problems will be absolved. You will if we have to create another division or whatever to oversee those things, we'll do it. But we do need to control the growth.
Okay, that's all the questions for this section.
All right, thank you so much. Now we'll get the District 4 position candidates.
Position 3.
Oh, position 3. Position 3, yeah.
Position 3.
Okay, great. John Evans and Tim Goodrow. Mr. Evans, is that right? Okay. All right, let me remind the candidates 3 minutes to talk about yourself. Mr. Goodrow, come on in. Oh, Mr. Evans, I'm sorry. Mr. Evans. Alphabetical order.
Well, hi, my name is John Evans. Moved to Fayette County back in the year 2000. Followed a young lady that decided to build a house out here, and that was kind of the carrot for this mule. Today, I am officially announcing my candidacy for the District 4 County Commission Position 3 seat. This is a new seat that's in Oakland. It comes about due to the census and the fact that Oakland has grown to the point that representation needs to be increased. Along with that, this is a very significant year, as this is the 190th year that Fayette County has been in existence. In 1824, the state legislature enacted legislation that allowed Fayette County to be carved from Shelby and the other surrounding counties. I bring some experience to the position from the standpoint, I was a 2-term alderman in Oakland. Pardon me. I've been very active with the Oakland Chamber. I am active also with the Workforce Investment Network Board. Previously, in years gone by, I served in the Air Force myself. and currently am still a member at Hope Presbyterian. One of the things I would share is a different approach to this whole thing about education. Recently, I attended a Department of Labor session with the State Workforce Investment Board. Part of what they were discussing is the 10-year window where, and I use the term robotics, but robots or non-human machines handling human work will come into play. Currently, there are robots priced at about $22,000 that can handle warehouse work and displace as many as 3 human beings. That's the end result of education. The problem is, what happens to those that are displaced? What are they trained for? I've just gotten signed, so I will thank you for this time.
Okay, now Mr. Goodrow, come on up, please.
I want to thank you guys for coming out and being a part of this candidate forum, getting to know the candidates that are running for your county offices. My name is Tim Goodrow, and I'm running for the County Commission, District 4, Position 3 seat. Like he said, like John said, there's an open seat. It's new. Therefore, there's no incumbent. I'm going to give you a little bit about myself. I'm a lifelong Mid-Southerner. I grew up in Collierville. I graduated from Shelby County Public Schools. A couple years after graduating high school, I started my law enforcement career, where I've been in it for 20 years. I'm currently with the Memphis Police Department. I've been there 17 and a half. As we all do, we start out as patrolmen, and I worked Orange Mound and Hickory Hill, and I earned a designation of Field Training Officer and Crisis Intervention Team member, where I deal with people in crisis. I didn't think that was exciting enough, so I joined the motor squad, and then shortly after that, I was promoted, and I'm currently the administrative sergeant for a Violent Crimes Investigative Bureau. Now, while holding down the career in law enforcement and a family, I went and completed my higher education. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in operations and organizational management. As a result of my studies, shortly after graduation, I created 2 businesses, one of which was a publication. I started it, ran it, and subsequently sold it for a profit. I do not have a publication background. I've lived in Oakland twice, once in the late 90s for a short time, and then I moved back here in 2010. I live in Northwood Estate. I've been asked, what led me to get into politics? And that's been a difficult question to answer because that's not what I see. I'm not wanting to get into politics. What I'm wanting to do is insert myself as a leader in this community, a leader in Fayette County, to help Fayette County continue to be a success and grow. I'm not going to pretend that I have all the answers. And anybody that says they do, you should be wary of. But my promise to you is that I will fairly represent the people of Oakland, District 4, and do what's best for Fayette County and District 4. When issues, and I'll wrap it up here, when issues arise, I'll either have a solution, find a solution, or be a part of the solution. That's my commitment to you.
All right, are there any questions for the candidates for District 4, Position 3?
runs through the heart of Hickory Ridge. What is your vision? This is to both candidates. What is your vision for the development of the corridor down Highway 64?
Joanne, let me kind of restate that. What I believe I heard you say is, what is the vision for the Highway 64 corridor? You know, quite frankly, I have always believed that when you are looking at a transportation area, that is the main concern. Now, sometimes those routes tend to wind themselves through a community's city limits, and you have to be mindful of that. That's where the planning and code enforcement comes into play. I personally would like to see a less commercial approach to the corridor than what I hear talked about. But that's just my thought.
Thank you. Mr. Goodrow?
Same question.
Same question.
Well, I believe in a planned development, planned growth. When we're talking about the corridor through down Highway 64, and most of that is designated as Oakland city limits, the corridor is. I believe that it's smart fiscally to start from the center and work your way out. I don't think there should be sparse development along down the corridor. I don't think that's good for the businesses that are planted there, and I do not think that's good for the city because they have to provide for the infrastructure. So it just doesn't make sense to throw yourself out. You got to work you got to work from the inside and work your way out.
Thank you. Another question for the candidates, please. Yes, sir, a question.
You know, every day when I drive in, I see that we are a storm emergency ready type community. My question is, what kind of plans do you have in terms of growth to make sure that we are able to respond to emergencies? After all, we are in a subduction zone. And you know, if the big one never hits Memphis, I'm sure we're going to get rattled out here. So my question is, what kind of preparation do we plan for the future, especially with our growth?
You know, when we look at emergency management from the standpoint of being a county commissioner, I think there are two things that are tremendously important. First of all, have you got the right people in the positions? And second of all, are you funding that endeavor at its proper level? That's what keeps the population safe. That's what gets us continually looking forward so that we can not just prepare for those types of things that we know about now, but things that have not come into being heretofore. For example, sinkholes. I mean, you know, who would have thought in a football field? Thanks.
Mr. Goodrow?
I believe what you're asking is when there's a catastrophe, a storm of such. Well, I think the main thing that has to be looked at first is emergency services. We have to be adequately prepared and equipped. Right now, we have an ambulance service that their budget is $1.5 million a year, and we have 3 ambulances for 705 square miles of county. Fayette County is the second largest county in Tennessee in terms of landmass. We have 3 ambulance services. How is that going to work? how are people in Rossville, is there going to be a delayed response in Rossville and Moscow because the ambulance in Piperton is already working a traffic accident? So I think it's important to work on our emergency services infrastructure.
Okay, thank you.
We have time for one more question. Hal?
All right, thank you. Same question that I asked earlier. Funding from the federal government is often available for various projects and programs as federal grants. As I stated before, these federal grants are just added to the national debt. They're tempting to accept, but sometimes the programs look good to people in the county level. What is your position on taking federal grants?
Actually, Hal, that's a very good question. And there's no easy answer. And the reason I say there's no easy answer, there are needs in the community that should be met fairly quickly. And the community doesn't have the ability to rapidly bring those funds to the table. That's an instance I would go ahead and work towards the grants. The other problem with grants, though, is that they're proportionately matched by the community itself. And, you know, do you have the funding yourself to go get the additional funds? Am I opposed to it? No. Does it need to be scrutinized? Yes. Is every grant an open target? Not really, because it just kind of doesn't make sense in a lot of cases.
My issue with federal grants is that there are strings attached to many of them. Consider Common Core. There's money that the government gave for the state to adopt Common Core. Well, I have a problem with any program that pays you to take it on. So I would be wary of using or being quick to grab a grant when there are strings attached that make you commit to a program or to doing some type of procedural efforts. If you're going to accept a grant and it's not okay with your morals or values of the county, then I don't think you should accept it.
Okay, thank you.
One more question?
I'm always ready with questions.
One more, Hal. One more.
All right, the other question that has been on my mind, many of the programs in communities across the country that, you know, when you're talking about community planning, have increasingly involved multiple communities where some of the community gives up their authority by joining a regional planning authority. And so ultimately what happens is that the power of the voters to get rid of people who do bad planning for them is lost because it's transferred to this regional authority. How much of the planning authority of this county are you willing to give up to join a regional authority?
I'm not a big fan of giving up authority just to become a member of something else. That is one of the reasons that I truly am a nonpartisan candidate. I am a true independent. Even though a community or an entity has joined a regional, there is still that opportunity to back away from it, and it's called an election. If enough of the citizens vote that way, then that has to be. I'm a firm believer in the process, not the so-called outcome that needs to be achieved, but let the process determine the outcome.
I believe your question is, would I be for giving up authority to be a part of a regional effort that has the authority? I don't think I would be for that. I don't like the idea of my house being controlled by someone else. We've worked too hard as a county, as these municipalities have worked too hard to achieve what they have, to be governed by an outside entity. It's bad enough that our federal government wants to put their thumb down on the local governments, but by volunteering to give up our power and authority, at first reading, I wouldn't be for that.
Is there any rebuttal between the two of you? No? Okay, all right. Closing comments? Nope. Okay, all right, great. Thank you. So who's next on the agenda?
District 8, Position 2.
Okay, District 8, Position 2, Terry Leggett and Jim Mitchell. Y'all got the 3-minute talks ready?
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Leggett.
Good evening. I want to thank y'all for coming. I want to thank you. I want to thank the Tea Party, and I especially want to thank Warren Church for this community service. I think this is a great opportunity for candidates to come and get their message out, and for you, the citizens, to ask questions. Most of you know me. It looks like I'm the only incumbent so far tonight. Everybody else is trying to get the job. I'm trying to keep it. I've got a record, and I'm not running from it, I'm running on it. I've served the citizens of Hickory With for approximately the last 11 years. First in the Hickory With Community Association. I represented them many times before the zoning board. When we felt like that our property values were in a situation to where we needed someone to speak up and speak against rezoning. Zoning to me is sacred. People buy their homes, they invest their life savings in their homes based on the zoning that exists, and I don't think it should be just changed at the whim of government because someone wants it. I've been very active in the community. I've served on the board of directors for Fayette Cares for the last 5 years. I served as the chairman of the board, president of the board for 3 years. I just stepped down last September. That was the most I could serve. I'm a Christian first, I'm a conservative second, and you know, I guess I'm a politician because I run for office. I don't like that word. It denotes everything that I don't like about service in government. But I have always tried to help the citizens, either in my neighborhood, my county. My background is that I graduated from Messick High School, went on to Memphis State. University will always be Memphis State to me. It won't ever be University of Memphis. From there, I went to work for the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and I stayed employed there for 26 years full-time. I retired in '93, stayed on as a reserve officer till 2011, and I was asked to come out to Oakland and as and help them with their reserve program. I did so. I'm still a law enforcement officer. Worked Monday, pulled a shift. We had an officer that needed to be off. I enjoy it. I've grown up in a world, for as far as law enforcement, it's pretty black and white. It's either there or it's not there. That's the reason why I've never passed on a vote on the county commission. I've always voted either yes or no. Is that for me? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming tonight, and we thank the Tea Party and Warren Community Church for allowing this event to be held here. I am Jim Mitchell, and I'm running for County Commissioner for District 8, Position 2. I've lived in Hickory since 1974. My wife, Jane Hodges Mitchell, and I have been married for 45 years, and we've raised 2 successful daughters. We have 2 grandchildren and 1 on the way. I'm a graduate of the University of Tennessee at Martin with a degree in animal science and a minor in biology. I serve my community as an elder in the Hickory Presbyterian Church. I also serve on the board of the directors of the Fayette County Farm Bureau and the treasurer of the Hickory Community Association. I'm also a trustee of the Mount Pleasant Cemetery Association and served in the U.S. Air Force. Being able to listen to people of Hickory and the county will help me understand the needs of our area. And there's no doubt that our schools need improvement. By working cooperatively with the school board and the county commission, hopefully we will be able to improve our schools. I also continue to work with our county fire department through Chief Jerry Ray and to improve it as needed. And the same goes for our standing sheriff's office in Bobby Riles. We have a unique opportunity in this county with the intermodal rail yard in Piketon and Rossville to expand our industry base in the area of our wonderful county. This will translate into jobs for our citizens. Thank you.
Okay, question for our candidates, please. Yes, sir.
I've got an inquiring mind. What is the agenda, your primary agenda, should you be elected for the first 100 days you're in your office?
Okay, fair question.
My first 100 days will probably be like my last 1,200, is to represent the citizens that elected me from District 8 and to represent all the citizens of Fayette County, to do the things or to help guide the county government into doing the things that government is required to do for its citizens. That's to keep them safe, to provide an opportunity for commerce, and to educate the kids. Those are the 3 imperatives. A lot of this other stuff we do doesn't require our tax dollar. And so I will continue to march forth to apply those same principles. If it's government's responsibility, we need to do it. If it's not, we need to get out of it and let private industry do it. Thank you.
Mr. Mitchell.
I think our primary responsibility is to serve as the citizens of Hickory to bring their needs to the county commission. But on the county commission, you're just one of 19 people. And you have to work cooperatively with these people to accomplish anything in the county. And I would pledge to do that.
Another question? Hal?
Yes, sir.
Oh, do we have somebody else back there? Okay, thank you.
I have an observation and a question. Sure.
Yeah. Make the observation short and the question long.
I'll try.
Okay. Don't make me come down there.
I've been to several commission meetings. When I go, I cannot hear many of the commissioners. They mumble through everything they say, as if they don't want the people sitting out in the gallery to hear. Will you speak up when you are at the commission meeting?
Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think you were talking about me. Because I always speak up and I face the audience. And you're 100% right. Some of the commissioners up there don't want to be heard. And that's just the bottom line. And I hope that their constituents will address that with them come August.
I would definitely make myself heard if there is a need for it, and be glad to answer anyone's questions on the commission in a responsible manner.
Hal, did you still have a question?
Unless somebody else does.
I don't think so. Don't see any hands. Go ahead.
All right, here we go again with the federal funding question. On grants that are for different programs that the federal government sponsors or encourages, there are strings attached. I think we could also look at the Common Core phenomenon as one manifestation of that. I would like to know what your attitude is or propensity toward accepting federal grants when you know it's going to be part of the national debt ultimately.
Thank you, Hal. Federal grants are something that are offered to many people. It's a two-edged sword. I agree that there are places that we need assistance in funding certain things, big projects for the county. They do come with strings attached. That is the minutia that's in the contract, is what are we going to have to do in order to get the money. I'm against federal grants that create jobs for employees of the county, because usually what happens, they only fund them for 3 years. At the end of 3 years, we either have to turn that county employee out on the street to find another job, or we have to find the money to pay for it. And those are a dark hole that we don't need to jump off in, I don't think. There are certain things for infrastructure that I think that we need to look at the grants to see if they can assist us, if it assists everyone in the county.
Mr. Mitchell.
Well, I'm like Terry, I believe that is a two-edged sword, because a lot of times there are too many strings attached to these grants. They are needed for infrastructure and can be used successfully for that, but a lot of times there are just too many strings attached to them that in years down the road, the money is not there to pay for them. And thank you.
Joanne?
I don't know if I need a mic or not. I don't really.
You just want to speak up.
I don't really need to ask this question of Mr. Leggett, but I would like to know Mr. Mitchell's approach to the recent decisions the counties had to make regarding extra funding for the school board. Would you, if faced with difficult questions, would you be inclined to give the school board whatever they ask for, or would you require accountability?
Why don't we ask in order? It's like we should have asked the Terry.
I know.
Yes.
I don't know how I feel.
Okay.
Okay, the question was, when the school board asked for additional funding, what is my position on that, or what would my position be as a county commissioner? And as Joanne had stated, I have stated my position very openly in the past. The school board is like any other division of government. They have a budget. They need to learn to live within it. And we passed their budget. We should pass it in July. but last year they didn't get it to us till September. That was the first indication that there was a problem. So what I'm saying is it's kind of like a kid with a credit card. If you keep upping the fund balance, they'll keep using it. We have a responsibility to the taxpayer as commissioners, and they have a responsibility to the citizens and the students as school board members to take the money that we give them and spend it appropriately and within budget. And I would hold to that thought.
I believe if you submit a budget, as the school board does to the county commission, and it's passed by the county commission and sent back to them, that the school board needs to adhere to their budget and not continually come to the board for more money.
Another question?
I'll fill in.
Okay.
Let me sound like a broken record again. With respect to community planning, one of the trends, as I mentioned before, nationally, is that lots of communities are merging their interests and their planning authority into regional associations. And when that happens, the voters in the community lose the direct contact and control over people representing them to a professional board that encompasses more than one county, even multiple states. What is your view of that loss of potential authority to the voter?
Hal, I think it's atrocious that any elected official would give away or abdicate his responsibility to someone else that his electorate doesn't have a voice in electing. We're dealing with that now on the mega site up on the north end of the county that we're dealing with Haywood County, and they seem to be calling all the shots, or TDOT does. So I'm certainly against that. I think the best politics, the best government is local government. It gives the people the greatest voice in their future. And so I will continue to espouse that. Thank you.
Jim?
I believe the county and each city has a planning commission within its own confines. And I believe we should leave that authority with these people and the voters of the county for each individual circumstance.
Any other questions? Pardon me? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, concerning planning and the industrial zone in Haywood County. They are widening the interstate ramp there at exit 42. What is going to go in there surrounding that exit? What kind of new buildings or businesses are going in there?
I will try to answer that in a minute, and we dealt with that pretty much at length in this budget process. The state is doing that for the mega site location. They're realigning Highway 222 going north from the interstate. They've moved it from its original place over behind those houses onto property that they own, this mega site owns, so that they can do commercial development along there and thereby not have to buy the houses and the lots along the existing 222, which I think is terrible. Additionally, TDOT wants Fayette County to accept, they want to give us the roadway of the old 222 from the interstate up to the Haywood County line for us to maintain. And I asked the question of the mayor at the last meeting, what's in it for us? and there's nothing in it for us. We're just going to obtain some more asphalt to have to keep up on our tax dollar instead of TDOT doing it. So I look at that with, jaundiced eye.
Jim?
I'll have to say that the information that I got about the mega site was pretty well today in the newspaper. And Terry was right, the TDOT is taking over the roadway and moved it and wants the county to take up the slack on the old road. And I don't agree with that. As to what industry is going in around that, I know that that road is going to serve the mega site and everything that's developed up that way. But as far as answering what other industry is there, I'm sorry, sir, I'll be glad to try to find out and answer your question if you give me your name and number.
No other questions? I bet they're going to have a McDonald's up there. McDonald's?
Do I?
They're going to have McDonald's up there?
Oh, okay.
How about our next round of candidates then? Or you want to do a summary? Okay. Okay.
I just want to expound a little bit on this 222 thing. I was telling Jim that almost the entire mega site is in Haywood County. The only thing that we're involved in basically is the interstate interchange, and they're doing that for the mega site. Certainly, if a big auto manufacturer went in there, it would be wonderful to have jobs. This county needs jobs. We need them badly. There are a number of different things that come along with the mega site. The 222 is just part of it. They're wanting to run electrical, TVA's wanting to run electrical power lines across many farms across that area and take farmland under federal eminent domain because they know they couldn't get it if they tried to go through the state or the local eminent domain. It's a situation that we're kind of behind the 8 ball. The federal government has done everything through TVA because TVA is kind of like the railroad. They do whatever they want to, and you have very little control of them. We have none at the local level of telling them yes or no. We can't even get them to come, and we're trying now, get them to come to our county to hold a public hearing where we can find out what they are trying to do to our farmers up in that area. We're just kind of the stepchild down here because the interstate runs through our county. Additionally, I hope that my record speaks for itself. I hope that you will consider me come July the 18th for early voting or August the 7th for the election, and you will give me your vote to return to Somerville and represent you from District 8, Position 2. Thank you.
Jane and I have first-hand knowledge about TVA and their eminent domain. We have a substation that's located on our property. We also have a TVA line that supplies Galloway that comes off that substation and goes to Galloway. And the acreage that they have taken off of there is tremendous right away. Fortunately, they pretty well hung to the property line on us. But there are different routes available for TVA. If I didn't misunderstand the article that goes to this mega site, if TVA would just use common sense, which they're not very apt to do, and find the correct route that would not bother these farms, it would be better off for the whole county as a whole. And I thank you for the time tonight, and if you see fit to elect me to this position, I will serve the Hickory community and the county to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask the candidates for District 4, Position 2, to come to the stage, please. Gregory Duncan, James Garrett, Reggie Howard. Okay, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? Okay. All right, candidates, you have 2 minutes. Is it 2 minutes or 3 minutes? 3 minutes to talk about yourselves. Mr. Duncan, you go first.
Good afternoon. I'm Mr. Gregory Duncan. I'm a Oakland resident of 115 Clay Street. I was born and raised, I was born in Grand Junction, raised in Mississippi, around Ashland, Mississippi. I come this way in around my in the 6th grade. My daddy brought us down here. He's late and have passed on, unfortunately. But I come to Oakland by the way of marriage of my wife, Helen Pierce Rivers, now Duncan. She have lived here all of her life in the city of Oakland area. And I'm one that is thankful to be a part of growth and development, because I've found out a lot of things in life. When you got life, you age. And just like growth, my wife, we have been married 25 years, and I've seen a lot of growth in the city of Oakland for me coming to the city of Oakland. And 1996, when Cole was mayor, Mr. Cole Doyle, Mr. Roscoe Hunter asked me to come in the middle of a term. I've served on the Board of Aldermen for the city of Oakland for 2 terms. Matter of fact, I served with Mr. Bill Mother for two terms, and I had the privilege to be vice mayor for the city of Oakland. Like I said, I am thankful to be a part of growth and development, because all I do is look up at the American flag. And I'm just asking, this is my first time running for County Commission, District 4, Seat 2. I just ask for your consideration and your vote. Thank you, kindly.
Mr. Howard.
Thank you. Them lights are bright. I'm not used to being up on stage. Well, first, I want to thank my friends in the Tea Party for providing this forum, and I want to thank Warren Community Church for allowing us to hold this event. My name is Reggie Howard, and it has been an honor to represent District 4 for the past 4 years. I hope this, got to take my glasses off to read. I hope the voters think I have done a good job and are willing to give me 4 more years. I have been a constant voice for traditional values for the citizens of District 4, and was able to get resolutions passed, including but not limited to supporting parental rights, the Second Amendment, and honoring a great favorite son of Fayette County, Mr. Herb Parsons. I have tried to keep my constituents informed of important issues through the Fayette Falcon, town halls, and recently through social media. If reelected, I will continue reaching out to keep the citizens informed and hopefully more engaged. I will be able to be a much better servant to the citizens of District 4 after going through the learning curve of the first 4 years. Trust me, there is a lot to learn about the process, and this commission does not have staff for the commissioners like some counties to help them through it. I am the only conservative in this race, and unless Mr. Duncan is a Republican, I am the only Republican in this race. While this is a nonpartisan race, I believe it is very important for the voters to know, since it says a lot about the candidates' views on many issues. Fayette County prides itself on being fiscally sound, and as long as the citizens elect leaders who treat the taxpayers' money with greater care than they might their own, the tax rate will remain low, a low burden here. I promise to do just that. I want to see this new school finished without wasting more money. This district needs fiscally responsible representation, and I believe I have shown I meet that qualification. Finally, I want to share with you I am a veteran, a life member of the NRA, and I have been actively involved in Republican causes for over 20 years. I have been married to my wife Sherry for 35 years, and we are proud of the 2 children we have. I have served on the Fayette County Republican Executive Committee and started and chaired the first silent auctions with Mr. Tom Karcher, a dear friend of mine. I want to thank you for coming out tonight to learn more about the candidates. I ask you for your support and your vote. I have yard signs with me and would be glad to meet you after we are through here. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions for our candidates? Yes, sir.
Should developers have carte blanche when they come into the Fayette County just to develop, or should there be some more restrictions? And when I ask that, I'm asking, I know we've got city ordinances, and I know there's some federal, state ordinances, and even some county ordinances. But it seems to me that looking around at what I'm seeing since moving to this area, I see if it depends on who you are and where you are and what you get. And I feel like there's been carte blanche given in the past. Are y'all willing to continue that?
Mr. Duncan?
At this time, I did not come prepared to answer Q&A question. That wasn't my object. Just to introduce myself and ask for your consideration for vote. Thank you.
Reggie?
I'm not knowing specifically which area you're speaking of, but Mr. John Pittner is our planning director, and Mr. Pittner is a very, very intelligent man. He's been in this county for decades, and we have a controlled growth plan, and it is a very good plan. I have sat down and talked to Mr. Pittner on numerous occasions, and I fully support his plan. And while that wasn't part of your question, talking about the growth plan for the 64 corridor coming through Oakland, Mr. Pittner has a very good plan, but of course, Oakland, that is not the county's property, so we can only try to influence the town leaders on that plan. But Mr. Pittner's plan, briefly, is that we would have access roads off 64 with limited red lights through the town of Oakland, and all of the businesses would be facing those access roads. I think it's a very good plan, and it's worth consideration.
Any other questions? Okay, if there's no questions, each gentleman will have 2 minutes to kind of wrap up. Mr. Duncan?
Certainly, this is a new opportunity to learn. I'm one that believe in learning, and one that, matter of fact, I'm independent. Neither Republican, neither Democrat. Independent, and just want to serve. I believe in serving. I believe in as our Savior, He done come from heaven down here to earth to serve us, and most certainly that's what I want to do, to serve the peoples for the peoples. And ask you to consider voting for me for District 4, Seat 2. Thank you kindly.
And I'm going to ask you to consider, for those that would have a vote in this district, to consider my record and the service that I've provided the citizens of District 4. I want to thank you for coming out tonight, and I see a lot of my friends from Hickory with, and while you cannot vote for me, you have friends within Oakland. Please ask them to consider me as a candidate. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you, host.
Okay. And now, two of the tallest men I know, and I've had my picture with them, and they look like a hobbit. We're going to invite our candidates for Fayette County Mayor, Ed Padgett and Ray Skip Taylor. Please come forward. Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
All right, 3 minutes to have each of you tell us about yourselves, please.
I've got to adjust it up a little bit before you go on. I'm Eddie Padgett. I've been your county register of deeds for the last 35 plus years. I've been thankful for that. I have served on many committees in the community, Rotary Club, JC's, hospital board. I wasn't on the hospital board, I was on the community board. I've coached Little League Baseball and didn't get killed, and I have been an officer of the Dixie Youth League here. I believe in the youth. I believe in Fayette County. I'm a Christian. I'm conservative. I believe in the Constitution, and I would like to be your county mayor.
For moderating this and the Tea Party for putting on these forms are a great venue for folks to vote out. For those of you who don't know, my name is Skip Taylor. I'm your county mayor now. I asked for re-election. I was first elected in 2002, and this is finishing up 12 years. Just to give you a little background on myself, I was born and raised in Fayette County. I went to Fayette Academy and graduated there, went to UT Martin, got a BS degree, and came back home and run a family farm for approximately 20 years. In 1994, an opportunity presented itself to run for the county commission, ran for the county commission, and in 2002 was fortunate enough to win this position. Fayette County is a very big county, as was stated earlier, and we're in a very good position in relation to a lot of places around the state. Our finances are some of the best in the state. Our bond rating is something that banks use to measure your worthiness, for credit worthiness. They've raised ours for the last 2 times we've had to go out and borrow money. Now, you never like to borrow money, but you like to have those folks telling you a good risk. We do conservative budget through the county commission. And the county commission work very tight with the county commission on numbers, getting to them, putting budgets together every year. In fact, to say putting a budget together is almost like birthing a baby. It takes you about 9 months to put one together, you get 3 months off, and then you start over again. And one other thing that I'm proud of is the nation as a whole has gone through a financial crisis, and we're just now coming out of it. We've managed to go through that time without raising property taxes, and we've just now started to put some money back in what you may term a rainy day fund, so that we can weather these circumstances again should they ever occur. I'm proud of our emergency services, our fire department, our EMA, our sheriff's department.
We've worked hard during my administration to put services, equipment out to those people, training, so that then when they put their lives on the line, that they truly know the county's behind it, and they don't go in with just part of what they can do. They go in knowing that they can address the situation and help you in the process. I'm proud of our airport expansion. I was mentioned a while ago about an incident out there, but our airport is a driving force in Fayette County. It brings in a lot of business, people that you never would envision show up in Fayette County because of that airport. Proud of our business recruitment in Fayette County because we do have several opportunities. We've worked with the cities bringing in those jobs and prospects for new jobs. Proud that we worked on higher education facility. We do have them coming in, a start this fall, and hopefully that'll be something we can do later. Increase on. I do have some goals, and I'll quickly get those so I can sit down. I want to work on a countywide business recruitment plan. Every city in the county has a goal for how they want their city to grow. And I've talked with every mayor, and they are working on their different aspects on how we can accomplish that, put that in one document so we can market Fayette County. I want to finish up the higher education facility, and I also want to work on a countywide park system. Thank you.
I'm just going to stand on my toes, okay? Any questions for our candidates for mayor? Ed Melton, please.
I'll stand up so you can hear me.
Okay.
Everybody loves the low taxes in this county, but we've been surviving for the most part on property taxes and so forth. I've been saying for a long time, the only way we're going to be able to maintain that low tax rate is to attract more business into this county. Mayor, you touched on that. I'd like to hear you expand on that. I'd like to hear Mr. Paddock talk about what his plan to market this county and bring industry to this county, not just up at the mega site. We've got lots of opportunities with the intermodal site and a couple industrial parks here in the county. How do we leverage that?
Well, that's a good question, and the number one thing is we got to shore up our education, because we are not getting some industries now because we don't have the education system. And the first thing they're going to do is come into Fayette County and ask what your scores and everything are. But to get some business into Fayette County, we're in a very unique spot right now between the mega site and the railroad. I've talked to some leaders in Oakland. They want to stay the retail part of the industry and put the industries in Piperton and at the mega site or in that area north of Somerville. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an industrial development group together that's going to go out and recruit. And just like yesterday we read in the paper that Valvo moved to Marshall County, Mississippi, which is an industrial park that part of it's in Fayette County. And, you know, I don't know why we didn't get it, but I don't even know if we asked them to come to Fayette County. But I'm going to go out and recruit and try to get some jobs here. I've got 7 children between me and my wife. We've got 2 that live in Fayette County. We've got 1 that works in Fayette County. And that's pitiful, people. And that's what we've got to get out and get done. Thank you.
Taylor.
Yes, ma'am. You're correct. Fayette County's got a lot of different places, and every city has its own method of way they want to grow. It is right. Oakland seems to be going more of the residential retail. Piperton, on the other hand, would like to be more industrial. They've got their towns sort of divided. Every city has a different attitude on how they want to grow. What I want to do is put together that so we can go out and market it. We're already doing that, but to have a document that everybody's signed off on is a tool that is godsend, because saying somebody wants to do something and have them vote on it and take it to somebody is a totally different animal. So only by expanding that business and industrial base where it is planned to be can we grow. Because, you know, we've got a great rural atmosphere out here. We've got great zoning and planning in the county. We work well with the cities. So we need to grow it where we've got the infrastructure work on getting that infrastructure, that's one way to keep the taxes down. On the Volvo issue, I spent from Thanksgiving until January and a bunch of my Christmas holidays down at Rossville with gentlemen, ladies, folks from the state, working to get that down to 2 sites. And the reason they went to Mississippi, according to them, was they liked being on 72 down there on a 4-lane highway, which was not where we were. But we had them beat every other way. We almost had them. Thank you.
Ms. Marsh, did you have a question?
He asked it.
Okay. Mr. Allen? Yes, sir.
Yeah. My question was for Mayor Taylor. Skip, can you hear me all right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. When it was discovered that the school board had built a school down in the middle of an asbestos pit, shouldn't there have immediately been an emergency session call of the school board and the county commission to kick this thing around and make some decisions on it?
Actually, it should be alphabetical.
Right. Well, that was, I'm sorry.
It's good.
I'll get you.
Okay.
Yes, you know, I can't answer, you know, should have been done. It's nothing I could do. I think it should have been done. I think it should have been a committee. I think it should have been at least a joint meeting of the county commission and the school board. It appears to me that it's been 2 or 3 people that made the decision to continue on that. But I'm, you know, I don't want to get into a mudslinging contest tonight. All I want to do is say that I think it should have been handled different, and I think we would have saved a whole lot more money than we have, and then throwing $1.2 million into a black hole. I've talked to some environmental people. The environmental people said it did not have to be done the way it was. And that's about all I can say is that y'all have to make the decision on whether it was done right or not. Thank you.
I wish it was as clean cut as we found it. Let's go talk about it. When they opened it up, they had in their budget, just to give you a little background, a little history, in their budget they had, I think, $20,000 because they knew they had some asbestos and some tile in there. So they hired a company and they come in with the bunny suits and they do their thing. They also, in their budget, had a $400,000 contingency fund. Now this is a nearly $10.5 million project, and there's always things that go wrong. So they had that budgeted. When they first got into it, they thought they had maybe $50,000 or $100,000. Little pockets here, there, and yonder. There was what was called a phase 1 environmental that was done on the site. That basically said, we served the gentleman who did it. It was licensed by the state and had all the federal certifications. Said he's reviewed it. There should be no problems. That's what everybody based the decision on. When they first went into it, it was almost like quicksand. It was like $50,000 to $100,000. They had the money in the bank. They were going to take care of it, move on with it. Then it got to be a little bit more, got up to $250,000. But we're sure we got it this time. The next time they came back, well, we've just about we're using our other money, but we think we've got some in our general fund to take care of it. As a school board trying to take care of the situation. And then within a very short period of time, my landfill, or Fayette County's landfill, is filled up. A ravine is filled up with what was buried in the late 80s by somebody who wanted to take a shortcut. Now, I couldn't tell you the qualification who decided to bury it and what why they did it. But I wish it had been just as clear cut as we found a problem and sit down and talk about it. But by the time they got to the point of they were in it, they had already obligated the money and had disposed of it. And then they were trying to figure out how to pay for it. Now, that's just what happened. We did have meetings with the county commissioners as soon as we had definite information, and getting definite information on this topic was sort of tough. We did tell the county commission, and we had, I believe, a joint meeting. I don't think it was a full-blown county commission meeting, but I believe it was sort of an information session. In the meantime, they have worked on the school board side to lower the cost as much as possible. Initially, they were being charged something like $90 a yard hauling to someplace. They've since got that down to, I think, around 30, which sort of tells you the profit in that type of industry. So, could it have been handled differently? I would have liked to have thought so. And Eddie's right. After the fact, talking to different environmental people, because apparently getting an environmental answer from everybody's got an opinion and their answers vary about frequently. You probably could have stopped at some point, covered it up, packed it like they're required, and gone someplace else. At that time, a decision should have been made, what is the best financial place to do with this? Because you would have had money already invested with it. But if you didn't know if you were at the bottom or not, who's to tell? They hired an architect who's still on the roll. They have since hired a project manager to help them work through this. And they have a construction manager, because that's the project type that they use. It wasn't a straight bid where you go out and the lowest guy gets the project. They hired a firm to basically bid out the different parts to build the school. And they were supposed to be basically employees of the school system. You got all these parts moving around. None of them apparently were on the ball well enough to provide information. Because I can remember I was at a school board meeting when the school board members were asking the same question you asked, pretty much. What do we need to do? What do we have to do? And they were being told, because you opened it up, because it's open, because it is a health hazard now, you got to take care of it. Because if you don't take care of it, you got everybody who lives around in here is going to be harmed. So they went ahead, they kept right on going. That's what happened. I mean, it's not pretty, don't like it. Hindsight's 20/20. I can guarantee you'd have done it differently next time, and I hope there's not one, but that's pretty much what happened.
Mr. Goodrow?
I was glad to hear someone mention park system, countywide park system. Studies show that homes around or face a park are 20% greater in value than those that are not. Parks raise property value raises tax revenue. It's a win-win for the owner and the municipality or the county. I've even presented an alternative funding plan to the Oakland city government regarding improving their park system. What would be your vision for a county park system, and how would you fund it?
That's a great question, Tim. I appreciate that question. The reason being is I vision, if you go to every community in West Tennessee, just about, you have a fairgrounds. We're fixing to close some schools that could be used as a fairgrounds. We could build a walking track, we could have gun shows, we could have flea markets, we could have a fair. That a lot of our people cannot go to the big fairs in Memphis. It would be something that would be good. We did have a park and rec budget, I'd say 6 years ago. I think it was sometimes in your administration. It was way early. Yeah, about $100 and something thousand was in that. So, we already had that. Now funding it, we're going to have to look at incentive ways to fund, but we need to do something that we have fun at sometimes instead of just looking at dollars and cents. Thank you.
Thank you. Taylor Pratt.
My vision of a park system, every little town, Oakland's got several little pieces, a couple of big pieces actually, has a park or a place that they sort of congregate, whether it's park, whatnot. I would like to cooperate with them and truly be a county-wide park system where we work together, we put events on, we both pay the bills, so to speak, on those. I would very much like to see a fairgrounds of sorts. I think I've been told anywhere between 50 and 100 acres would be needed to make a pretty decent one. I would like to see that inside a city, simply because you have the facilities there. You'd like to have bathroom facilities. You'd like to have police protection, because you don't want to have one in the middle of some place that you got some cheap property, but things happen out there you don't want to happen. I would like to cooperate with a city that's able to do it. There's some, going back to state grants, there's some state grants out there that can be used or raised from some Tennessee Environment Community Service. Put some money out there where they can do some things. I think we can work with that. Be happy to talk with you. You've got some other ways funded. I'd like to hear from you.
Okay. Mr. Bunker.
I said a while ago that Betty and I had been in business, had successful businesses, and we did enjoy successful businesses through the years. And in the process of that, we built some facilities, even bigger than this school site that's being built in some of them. And the process there, even before you form your budget or whatever, is to have soil engineers come out, do the drilling or whatever, and determine what is there, what kind of ground you have. This all determines what your budget's going to be. You're determining what has to be done, what's the preparation before you put a building on this property. So the question is, why was that not done? Why did you all not know what was there before a dump truck load of dirt was moved? Soil engineering company would have told you that on the front end.
Okay.
Well, the only thing I can answer with that is that we also had a problem when we built the jail. We had we had a mud hole out there that we had to spend about $350,000 on. So you would think that if we did one time, that we would get a test ran the second time around and do it. I definitely would have done that. And I was at the meeting where they decided not to do the phase 2 thing there. It was a handful of commissioners and our mayor that decided that we didn't need to have that because we had the phase 1 and they said it was all right.
To answer your question, what you were talking about, the borings and this type of soil and compaction rates, all that was done. There was a second. That was actually an engineering report that was delivered. Where the asbestos was, whatever decision was made, I don't think a bore was done there for whatever reason, but an engineering firm was brought in. It was laid out to what they wanted to do, and they were told what the soil was like. And yes, we did have a justice complex. It was on top of spring, and they didn't go quite far enough with that one. And they did spend some money out there. Justice complex is a whole nother story. But that's the story. There was one done.
Any other questions? Kathy?
I've got a question about county debt. What is our debt level and what is the plan to make sure it doesn't keep getting bigger and bigger like our neighbor Shelby?
The debt right now, if I'm not mistaken, is about $32.7 million. Is that about right? We have the same bond rating as Memphis does, which, you know, they were fixing to close Memphis down and let the state run it for a little while. We've heard about the improvement that we did, but it also went down in this administration over the last 12 years. So I think that we've got to tighten our belts and check each department and make sure we're not wasting money. Of course, the biggest thing we have is the education. And we keep hearing the answer of is, well, all we can do is give them the money, but we can't do anything about it, how they spend it. I don't agree with that. It's other counties are taking care of that within themselves. We don't need Washington to come down and tell us how to do core education, and we don't need I think that we can do a good job ourselves if we get down and get the right people in the departments. Thank you.
Figure 80 use is about right. What we've done we've got our debt structured, and you can ask me, the current county commissioners. We've got our debt structured so that we know every year is pretty level. We know what our debt's going to be. We've refinanced a bunch of our debt recently to take advantage of some low interest rates. We are very solid. Memphis, as bad as it is, even with this debt, even with its problems, has a very good credit rating. For most of my term, when we did borrowing, and we didn't do a lot, and we've done more recently because we refinanced. But when you did do it then, you did insurance. Some sort, you bought a little insurance, make sure you're basically going to pay your bills. First time we did our rating, we had a negative rating. It was a AA negative. And the negative said that we think they're good here, but we want to see the trend line go so that it's getting better. We're going to continue to watch you. The next time we get rated, when I did some more refinancing, they took it off. Said, you've done what you said you were going to do, and you got the wherewithal to pay your debt. We've got it structured well, and between the property tax, wheel tax, and I think there's some adequate facility tax money we generally put in every year because that is an allowed portion of it. We've got a really good financing structure for that.
Yes, sir.
Since we're on taxes, how much new money, is the new railroad intermodal system it's also bringing in, and how much is it projected to bring in 5 to 10 years? How much money are you getting that you didn't have before from that new industry?
I can't answer that because I really don't know what we're getting in on the tax, from that. I know that the railroads have a different kind of tax structure than everything, than you do and everything. So I can't answer how much more money is coming in from that. I do know that we
Does
have...
the county have projections on how much money they're going to be taking in on a yearly basis? And what industries are going to pay them?
The industries, of course, you've got just the railroad out there, the hub out there right now. So that's all that's out there. So I don't think that the county, of course we need a 5, 10, 20-year plan on everything, but on this, I do not have that information right now.
Talking about the railroad, they're looking to have distribution and light manufacturing down there. Pretty much they bring in things with the rail, break it up and send it elsewhere. You got FedEx in Memphis. A lot of them are looking at bringing it there and send it out. Now, the amount of money we're talking about basically depends on what you bring in. Most of the buildings down there that they're looking at are somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million square feet. You're looking somewhere between 200 and 1,000 employees. To tell you how much money we're bringing in, you could be looking at, and these are guesses because you got to look at property taxes, you got to look at what do they spend in the community, your sales tax, those type of things. You could easily be looking at between $2 and $10 million a year extra when this gets going. So I wouldn't, but to sit here now and tell you what it is, those are estimates, and that's as good as we can get right now. I can say that everywhere we're looking in the county for new businesses, not just down there, because we want to make sure that the growth, you got a job close to home. But for the railroad, those are the site numbers we're looking at down that area.
Reggie?
For anyone who reads the Fayette Falcon, the Board of Education, they have a monthly meeting that's reported on, and several members of the board continuously attack the county commission on different issues, saying that there's groups that are against education, public education in this community, and there's a resolution that is steadily coming back to the commission every month, asking for the $1.2 million to cover the abatement costs. I would just like to get your opinion on the attacks coming from the Board of Education, some members, and how long do you think this resolution is going to keep coming back to the commission?
Well, with some of the people that's on the school board right now, I imagine you're going to get it about every month, Reggie. Now, what, should we do about the attacks and all of that? I think we got to work together a whole lot better than what we are now. And I think that's going to take a leader that's going to groove everybody together. We get one board member from the school board comes to the county commission meetings. We may have a commissioner that goes to a school board every once in a while, but you never see a whole group sit down together and try to discuss this stuff. And that's what we've got to do. And I think me as mayor, I think I can work with both groups and get them together, and maybe we can accomplish something instead of just sitting there and arguing all the time. Thank you.
Reggie, your idea is probably as good as mine. And so how long are you going to see that resolution? School board's meeting, or not school board, education committee's meeting tonight. In their packet was the resolution again, same resolution saw the month before. They had $400,000 in their budget, in their construction budget for contingencies. They had about $500,000 in their fund balance. And they spent most of that toward this asbestos. We're going through budget system. We're going through budget now in this next year's budget. They've got some extra, hopefully some extra money in sales tax coming in. Everything else is equal. So they should have money to take care of their problems. I think you're going to continue to see it simply because they feel like in some form or fashion they're due it. School board is just like any other part of Fayette County. As was stated earlier in some of the other discussions, they're given a budget, they need to adhere to it. County Commission is obligated to give them the same amount of money as the year before. They're obligated to spend that money wisely. If there are unforeseen circumstances, they should come to the County Commission with plans on how to address it, why they need to do it. And I feel sure that if they presented a convincing argument, they'd probably get some help. But I don't know that I've ever seen a true, concise plan yet. It's almost like herding cats in some aspect. So I think you're probably going to see it this month. Wouldn't be surprised if you didn't see it next month. And until they get the money or they get tired of sending it up to us.
All right, gentlemen, you get 2 minutes to do a summary.
Well, to summarize what has gone on tonight in here, I see a lot of concerned citizens sitting out in front of us. I think it's a lot of y'all that's not really happy the way some things have gone. And I think it's some of the education, I think it's some with other things that we haven't spent our money in the right spot. Education, we haven't put it in the classroom where it needs to go. Some of our other things, we've wasted money at other areas. I think we need to do something in the county that's fun, like I say, park, rec, fairgrounds, something in that part that everybody can go out and do something together. We've gotten to the point where everything about Fayette County is negative. We need to make something positive. And the only way we can do it is with people that decided to run for office and to make the right decisions. I don't have all the answers, but I guarantee I'll sit and listen to your questions, and I will return telephone calls to you, and I will work with you on what we need to do. Thank you.
Again, I want to thank y'all for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm running for county mayor again. I very much appreciate your vote. Fayette County is a very dear place to me as home. I've got kids that went through the school system, done well. they call this home also. We've got a lot of good things we can do in the county for the next 4 years. We've come through hard times. We're back to the place where we can actually make some choices and take advantage of some of the opportunities that we have around here. We're working well with all the different aspects in Fayette County. We're not hitting all eight cylinders yet, but we're real close. And we're going to make this next 4 years the best that we've been in a long time. I intend to keep the tax rate as low as possible, make sure we spend it, make it go as far as possible, and make sure that you, as a citizen, get what you're paying for. And when there's a bunch of good citizens out there and a bunch of different organizations that are making Fayette County better. And I want to be part of each and every one of them. And for that, I need your help. Thank you. We through now? Good. Take care.